This is Dustin J. Markowitz coming to you, weird video for 2 weeks in a row from the gem along the Colorado River, Laughlin, Nevada, bringing you yet another edition of your favorite bowling show, Bowling Evolved. Joining me, as always, is the one and only fantastic, phenomenal. I don't really have anything else great to say about you, Eric. I mean, you're just one of the most amazing bowlers I've ever seen.
Now I know you're drunk, but that's okay. That's all right. You're allowed to be drunk. Have another drink, you'll feel better. That's good.
Wait a minute, where's my cocktail? No.
Have a cocktail. Everybody looks good when you're drunk, so that's good.
That's what they say. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Eric Forkel. Eric, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, my partner. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm ready to be punched in the face by you since I got my first piece of hate mail this week.
And I didn't send it. No, I didn't. I had somebody send it, but I didn't send it.
That's a good point. This is great. I mean, we're doing a Skype show, which is again something we've talked about in the past. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. It's interesting being in front of the camera like this.
Yes, we tried it the first time and it didn't go so well, but this I think is going to be much better, and the sound is much clearer and we can hear, and I think that'll be great.
Yeah, I hope so as well. A lot of great news in the bowling world and a lot of things going on with Bowling Evolved, of course, but before we get into that, I have to announce we have a very, very special guest with us on the phone right now, and this is actually an interview which, Eric, as you well know, we've had requested several times because of the situations and circumstances surrounding the company. But, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce, representing 900 Global, the one and only Dave Smart to the show. Dave, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Dustin. It's a pleasure, and looking forward to visiting your site more. I'm just becoming familiar with it, and I understand you guys have a great show, so I sure appreciate you having me on.
Yes, it's great. It's great to have you on, Dave. Brings back some memories of back in the day. For those of you who may not know, back in the day when the dinosaurs roamed the planet, and I was out on tour. When I was out on tour, Dave was the ball rep for Columbia, and he was able to help me a lot of weeks to get paid and make a few TV shows, and I think we even won a few titles. So I can thank him for all the good old days, and they were a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was certainly a lot of fun. Yeah, it's been a while since I've got to speak to you, but I believe you were even on. When did you start on tour, Eric? Was it 1988, 90, or was it later than that? 92 was actually my first year full time, and okay. I think I signed up with Columbia, I want to say, in 94, and we had a good little run there, and that was back in what I think was part of the glory days of the tour, in my opinion. The tour has obviously changed now. It has a different type of glory, but back in those days, it was really something special, at least for the guys who were out there. And so it's we had Ozio on here a while back, and a few of Del Warren and a few other guys, and it's kind of nice to talk about the old times. It's kind of fun. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, all names that I've worked with in the past, and I miss those guys. It was certainly good times. That's when the tour was 36 weeks a year, and we're drilling 400 to 500 balls a week, and it was exciting times, but certainly times have changed now.
Yeah, it was something. I was telling Dustin earlier that if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, but didn't you started on the truck working for Litch, and then from there you moved to Columbia, correct?
Yeah, 1988, I was the head ball driller for Litch, and I did that for 4 years, and we pumped out on average 300 or 400 balls a week back in the day, and then in 92 is when Columbia hired me on to be the tour consultant, and then that's when I got an opportunity to work with you quite a bit when you joined our staff, so it was
correct.
Good times.
That was, like I said, Marshall Holman was on the staff, David Ozio, Rick Steelsmith, Dave Husted, Robert Lawrence, Pete Weber. It was quite the staff, and matter of fact, we had a poster out that I had everybody sign many years ago, and I still have that up in my trophy room with a lot of great Hall of Fame bowlers, and they even had me on there along with all Hall of Fame bowlers, and it's just a great poster. I remember that. It's just fantastic. Yeah. And Jowdy's on there, and that was terrific.
Yeah, you were Bowler of the Year one year with Columbia, were you not?
No, I wish I was. I had some. I won titles, and I made a couple All-American teams with Columbia, and I shot some record scores with some of their balls. But no, I didn't. I never got that honor. I did in Southern California, but not on the national tour. But
okay.
They had some great product. They really did back in the day, and I'm sure you remember that, of course.
Yeah, for sure. And it's my position with Niner Global is just kind of one and the same. I really feel like I kind of way never left the Columbia family, because when I don't know how many people know the story, but when Columbia was bought out by Ebonite, we started a new company, Niner Global, and everybody that I work with is all, every single one of them is old Columbia employees. So it's a unique situation. It's a much smaller company, and of course we're pumping out a lot fewer balls. But the reason I joined the company in 2008 was because I walked in the door and saw old friends, and it's a great experience. So it was a super opportunity.
Still down in San Antonio?
Yes, we are. Yeah, we were in the old Columbia building for a few years. We were renting that space, and just recently, in the last 6 months, we've moved across town. We bought our own building. We bought our own facility that's kind of tailor made for what we need. So instead of renting, we're owning now. So we're on the south side of San Antonio now.
Well, that's great. Like I said, that was interesting how these things happen. So good for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very interesting. I always love sitting back during these conversations with some of these guests, and growing up as I did in the '90s, I had a chance to watch. I mean, obviously, the Eric Forkels and the Pete Webbers and these guys that to me were my bowling heroes, and
one fuzzy moment. Everybody say,
"Aw, yeah." But no, I mean, it's great because, when you have someone like yourself on the show, the ones that were the quote-unquote behind-the-scenes guys, I mean, the ones that, were outfitting these guys every week, it's the unsung heroes. I think nowadays, if anything, you see more of the ball reps and more of the companies, whereas maybe in the 80s and 90s you didn't see it as much in the mainstream. But, it's
correct.
It's great. It's great to have that opportunity, and I know from my perspective, and of course a lot of our fans that were watching bowling throughout the 80s and 90s and whatnot in the Glory area, I just want to say thank you very much. It's great that you were able to help these guys out.
Yeah, well, I was blessed for the opportunity. I was just a kid working the front desk and working in the pro shop, and I had the opportunity to get this fantastic job on the tour with Larry Lichtenstein just because I happened to meet the right person at the right time, Wayne Webb. And if it wasn't for that, who knows where I would have ended up. I got thrown into the fire, and being 19 years old, and all of a sudden you're drilling balls for Marshall Holman and Pete Weber, and back in that day it was even Dick Weber at times, but just an amazing learning experience. And fortunately, I was able to stick with it, didn't mind the travel, and kind of work my way through the industry. But the people I've met, and to say that I virtually know every top professional bowler in the world is just something. It's an honor, and to be able to work with the guys and help a lot of them. I'm a fortunate guy.
Dustin, you have no idea what it was like back then. I mean, Dave could really fill you in, and I didn't get out there until '92. But like I said, they drilled 300, 400, 500 balls a week. I mean, it was really something, and it wasn't in the greatest of conditions either. It left a lot to be desired, to say the least. Guys could be out there 12, 14, 16 hours and freezing cold and lose electricity and lose the heater, or it's 110 degrees and you got no AC. I mean, you name the problem, the problems would come up there. It really was something.
Yeah, it's amazing to walk in the truck now, and they've got they've got plush carpet, and they've got air conditioning in the summer and heat in the winter, and they've got 2 drill presses, and they've got shelves for bowling balls, and like Eric said, there was no such thing as AC in Phoenix in the summer, and in the winter in Peoria, it was put your coat on and light the propane heater and go at it. So. I wouldn't trade anything in the world for that. But back in the day, that's when the companies were really pumping out the comp bowling balls, and that's when, you got a bowling ball on TV, and the next Monday morning the phone was ringing, and the piranhas and the kudas that we sold because those balls and the beasts, the balls we sold because of the PBA tour back in the day was just amazing, and that was before product registration. There's no such thing. That was when we're paying players $25,000 to win the tournament. And I'm sure your incentive checks, your largest incentive check had to be right in that range. I would think. I'm sure you rang the bell a few times.
Unbelievable. Like I said, there was a time where I think it was myself and Weber. I think the one year with Columbia, Weber made close to $100,000 in incentives, and I know myself, I was in the high 60s. I mean, it was just in incentives besides what you earned from the prize fund. It was really phenomenal. I mean,
Right.
the more shows you make, it would tier, it would go higher and higher. And so when you got on a roll, if you happen to make a bunch of shows in a row, you're killing them. And you really could make a living throwing a bowling ball back then. You really could.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And unfortunately, they killed that when they got rid of the product. When product registration came around, unfortunately, it really, in my opinion, again, it really destroyed the players in that regard of earning that extra money. It's gone. It's really not.
Yeah.
They've got it now, but it's very, very, very small.
Right, yeah.
And I was going to say, I mean, and that obviously brings us up to the point where, Dave, as we had discussed, bring you on the show tonight, one of the questions that we get asked a lot, and I refer to Eric and myself, was, 900 Global obviously was a mainstay with the PBA, and with the decision to no longer be product registered with the PBA, what that meant for the company. Now, you hear the rumors, you hear every which way, but let me ask you from the company's standpoint, I mean, why did 900 Global no longer decide to stay with the PBA, and what is the company's direction here in the future?
Well, this is a shrinking market and a very tough industry, and any bowling ball company will tell you that. And it was just really, unfortunately, it came down to game of numbers. I mean, we have X amount of marketing dollars to spend every year, and the past few years, like every company, a large percentage of our dollars was allocated to the PBA Tour. Unfortunately, in our position, we had such a large percentage of our dollars was allocated to the product registration, which left us very little left over to spend on staff members. So it's like we had money to sit down and enter this poker tournament, but when we sat down on the table, we didn't have any chips to be able to bet and play the game. And so we're spending that money and scratching our heads. One, what's the chance of us getting balls on TV? And two, which all the bowling companies will admit to, the value these days of getting balls on TV, the impact in sales has dramatically changed. And you look at the number of tournaments the PBA has, and for whatever reason, you're looking at 10 weeks a year of bowling and 20 telecasts a year, and many times they're up against the NFL and other sporting events. So the exposure versus what we had to pay and versus other avenues we can take with our money, a more grassroots approach, we had to make that tough decision. And it was certainly one that I lost sleep over many nights because some very good friends of mine, we had to part ways, Missy Parkin being one of them. She was a fantastic player for us. She had her greatest years ever with our equipment, and we built a solid relationship, and it was a unique deal where we were just forced to part ways. And of course, we had Michael Haugen on staff, and it's just one of those things that I still think about. And it's a decision we had to make, but it was certainly the right decision. There's no question about that, because if you knew the money that it cost us versus the return, it was a no-brainer, quite honestly. In the last couple of years, we just tried to make it work. And one reason that it did work for us, we feel, is we had the summer series, that PBA team shootout that we were eligible to compete in, and that got us guaranteed TV exposure for the entire summer. So we looked at that and said, we can get our staff members on TV, and if we happen to bowl well and win the thing, who knows? And lo and behold, that's what we did the first year. And the second year, we bowled well good as well. So we got some guaranteed TV exposure, but for us just to have enough money to be a part of it and not commit to the staff members and the incentives and those things you have to do, it just didn't make sense. So this frees us up to do a lot of exciting things with our money more at the grassroots level.
Well, and that brings me to the second part of the question. Now, what direction is 900 Global going in the future? You mentioned grassroots. I see your guys' name popping up on everything these days, it seems like. What's the major events that 900 Global is getting involved with?
Well, the one we're really excited about is the USBC, the Showcase Lanes. They're building a 10-lane facility downstairs at the National Bowling Stadium, and they're going to host 2 events that we're going to sponsor, and we're sponsoring the whole facility. But for the first time, you can come to Reno and bowl tournaments, side tournaments, and not have to get in the car and drive across town. So they've got a couple tournaments that are geared not only for the experienced players, but the lower level bowlers. It's for all averages, and it's more of a fun type atmosphere to come out and enjoy yourself, which USBC should be all about. So they've got a couple different tournaments, a singles tournament, and a Baker team format. So and our booth is going to be right in this facility, so we're going to be able to work hands-on with all these bowlers that come in the building, as well as we're going to be running demos with our equipment. We're going to have Matt McNeil, which if you're not familiar with Matt, he's just dominated USDCs the last 3 years. He virtually was one strike away from winning 3 straight Golden Eagles. Many people don't know that, but he won it, and the next year he got up in the 10th to be the strike. He won it again, and this past year he won it again. So amazing feat, and he's going to be the silver level coach that's going to host all the VIP sessions that USDC has to offer. So we're going to get to literally touch upwards of 90,000 bowlers through the course of the season between the women and the men that come in to the facility. So, it costs us some money, but I think it's a great investment, and that's just one example of how we're channeling our funds in different areas, touching the buyer, touching our customer, the ones that purchase our products. And by no means did we want to, have to put aside the 4,000 PBA bowlers that are members of the PBA. I think it's actually less than that now. I think it's around 3,500. These regional players that want to use our equipment, we wanted to be a part of the regionals. But the dollars that it took just to be a part of the regionals, we had to back off. And when I say grassroots, it's league sponsorships, it's tournament sponsorships, it's pro shop staff, it's amateur staff. Basically, rewarding the pro shop, rewarding the consumers to look our way and to support our brands. We've done that in the past. We were fortunate enough to be successful early on, and that's why we're still here, is because we had a good product and we were able to sell some bowling balls, and we've had some unique marketing programs that rewarded the bowler for buying our product and rewarding the pro shop for buying our product, like the bounty program we had, where we put up $50,000 in cold hard cash for bowlers and pro shops. When you bowled an honor score with the bounty, we wrote you a check, and we did that for a couple of years, and no other company could say that. And we've done something like that pretty much every year, and we're going to continue to do that just because we know it takes something special to get customers to look our way, because everybody's got really good products, and there's a lot of strong marketing out there, and you've got to be unique and different and separate yourself in order to survive.
Well, it definitely sounds like you tapped into a market of Americana, if you will, that a lot of businesses have come from. Have you, and on a personal level, from I'm sure a lot of bowlers, I mean, there must have been a lot of backlash, especially from your PBA staff, after the decision was made.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, we got some hate mail, and we got a lot of bowlers that, how can you do this? The sport of bowling is dying, and how can you not support the elite level of the game? And my question to them is, well, at what price do you say that? It has to come at a cost, and there's a threshold for what you can afford to spend. And we certainly, the last thing we wanted to do is back away and not support the professional end of the game, because we know that's vital for the survival of the sport. But it's also vital that we survive as a company, and to put the money in towards the PBA, it's not viable for us to survive and try to market our brand in other ways that we feel like are more effective. Again, for all those reasons I explained about the TV exposure, the lack of membership every year, the lack of viewership every year. It's unfortunately, it's just meaning less and less to ball sales. And I would be surprised if the other companies, if you sat them down and looked them straight in the face, you ask them the value versus what they're spending, they can't tell you it's on an equal playing field. They can't. But these other companies have large staffs, and they've been committed for a while. I couldn't walk away if I were them. But we're in a position to call it take a chance, but we're in a position to do something different. And I think in this industry, in order to survive as a small company, you have to be different. You have to separate yourself. But we certainly, there are some PBA members that are very bitter at us. But if they knew the numbers and they understood the situation, I think they would have a different tone.
I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they'll ever go back to the PBA?
I'm sorry, ask it again?
Do you think that you'll ever redo it and go back?
Well, to me, and that's what I tried to explain to Tom Clark when this whole process was going on, is, the money that they're asking for, even for the grassroots level, they're shutting out so many companies that want to be a part of the PBA. The Lane Ones, the Mo Riches, the elites of the world. These companies are strong companies that that sell high-performance bowling balls that certainly need the PBA, but for the dollars they're asking, it's not even an option. It's not even something they can think about. So, I think if they restructured it and lowered the fees, they would get more companies on them. They might raise about the same amount of money. But I think in the coming years, you're going to see other companies making tough decisions too, and that's when the PBA is going to be forced to make those tough decisions and lower their fees or look at other avenues to increase the revenue to keep the bowling manufacturers involved. Because 10 years ago, everybody was selling a lot more bowling balls, and the fact of the matter is, we have the same number of manufacturers, if not more, and we have half the number of bowlers we're dealing with 20 years ago. And you do the math, it just doesn't work. So these companies are going to be forced to spend less money in marketing and channel their efforts in different directions. And that's where the PBA is going to have to, possibly make some tough decisions. But next year's going to be interesting to see if anybody else looks at it, or if the PBA comes back to us and makes some adjustments. We'd be more than happy to join back with them, because there's no ill feelings whatsoever on our side. We had to make one of those decisions that we didn't want to make.
Which could happen. Obviously, that could happen, especially with the maybe with the new team bowling concept. That might have something to do with it. Who knows?
Yeah, for sure. And it sounds like they're generating quite a bit of revenues with these actors and stars, if you will, that are owning these teams. And of course, part of their responsibilities is to draw in outside sponsorships. So I sure hope it works, because we do need professional bowling. We need it on TV, and we certainly want to be a part of it. So hopefully it's just a one-year hiatus.
Well, it's definitely great to hear that the company still supports the PBA. I mean, we actually had Tom Clark on the show, and we discussed a little bit about, different revenues as far as, how to promote more towards the regional level and whatnot. And I think you're absolutely right. I believe that more of these companies need to have the opportunity to be on the regional tour, on the national tour. I mean, I can understand the PBA's perspective as well, and there has to be a happy medium. I think that, and Eric, we've talked about this before, I think that there is a fine line that everyone can agree on.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. You want to keep everybody involved, but then again, you can't get upset with these companies for going the different route to try to help. They're trying to sell their product. They got to find the best way to use their dollars. I mean, if it's not with the PBA, then it's going to be with somebody else, and that's to help promote and sell their product. It is a shame, but and I think other companies may face that same question down the road. And hopefully, and who knows, maybe the PBA will restructure their thought on this, and maybe with all this money that may be coming in by having these teams, and with all these stars and celebrities involved, maybe that'll create enough revenue to where they could back it down on the ball companies and possibly help out the players again with the incentives like they used to have back in the 80s and 90s. Because they have some incentives now on the wall, but it's just a drop of what it really used to be. And if you got money coming in from a different angle, then maybe you can relax a little bit with the ball companies and with the product registration.
Yeah. These companies only have so much money to spend on the PBA tour, and the product registration directly came out of the players' pockets, via the incentives. But at the same time, the PBA is going to tell you, well, guess what? If we don't have this registration, there's no tour, so these guys don't have a job, which I totally understand. So, it's not like the PBA is getting rich. I'll never say that. These guys, they haven't been a money-making deal since I've been involved with it. So nobody's getting rich. They're trying to survive, and that's why I can't fault them for their business decisions that they made that forced us out. But I question whether there's a better way of doing it to get more companies involved. And unfortunately, the players are penalized as well, because they can't use the equipment they want to use. They're limited with the equipment, and I don't want to say limited. There's plenty of good options, but there's companies that they could use that they can't use, and I just don't feel that's right to penalize the players. If you have registration, blocking out the logos, do something to hide what they're using, but to not allow them to use the shoes at all and the balls at all for their livelihood, it's just it's an interesting concept.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah,
that's a nice way of saying it. An interesting concept it is, but it's their game, so they're going to play it the way they want, and that's fine. But yeah, really, it's changed dramatically through the years, and having been a part of the old days and seeing a little bit of the new days, it's like night and day. It really is. That was a really good revenue stream for the players, especially you make a couple shows and this company offers $20,000, $25,000 if you win. And I mean, they don't have that anymore. I mean, talk about being able to help. Pick up a couple of shows with the right incentives. That's a $50,000-$60,000 a year right there. And that's if you bowl poorly the rest of the year. You don't have that option now. You just
no,
don't.
And how many players are able to go out and say, hey, this is my living. This is what I do as a profession, and I make a decent living, and I can, it's how many players can say that? It's just it's a part-time gig right now, unfortunately. It's great that it's only 10 weeks because these guys have the opportunity to go get a job, I guess, and work, whereas before, you're grinding it out for 36 or 40 weeks. But it's not a great way to make a living right now, unfortunately, and hopefully they'll turn that around.
No, but I think the guys would love if they said, hey, we're going to give you 35 or 30, 32 weeks or 36 weeks again. I think they would much prefer that than having to go out and get a job. I mean, you got to be real here. Most of the guys that want to bowl, they want to bowl, and that's fine. Their dream has been to go out on tour, and they want to bowl 30, 35 weeks. Then when they're home, they want to bowl some regionals. I mean, you could create a full year, and that's what it used to be. It was a full-time gig. Well, obviously that's changed. That's changed for a bunch of. I left the tour in 06, and it was already poor getting down at that time, and here we are 7 years later. It has not gotten any better. I mean, granted, they did offer. They have the stuff overseas with what's going on over there, but now you got to travel overseas to get there. That's not the easiest thing to do.
You look at the expenses. You can't justify the expenses. You got to finish in the top 4 or 5 to have it make sense at all. Yeah, it's tough. But in the meantime, we're just going to do everything we can to allocate our dollars to the buyer. The strip program we've got going on with we had with the freight train and now our bullet train. The consumer goes out and buys our ball, and they get a high performance jersey that costs $60 in a store. They get for free. They basically pay shipping and handling. So those are the types of things that cost us money, but we're channeling our efforts towards giving that consumer a reason to, there's good product out there, but why don't I look this way and see what we've got? And that's what it's going to take, and we're going to do more and more of those type of promotions.
Well, it's great to hear that for sure. We're coming up on our first break here of the show. Dave, I want to say thank you very much for joining us. Where online obviously I know 900 Global has a website. Is it 900global.com?
Yeah, 900global.com, and we also manufacture and promote and market AMF, and that's found at amf300.com. So those are our 2 brands that we're actively promoting. And again, we encourage everybody to stop by Reno and check out the showcase lanes. That's downstairs. It's going to be a really unique and different thing for people visiting Reno for the first time. They can bowl right there in the facility when they're not competing in the championship. So it's going to be a fun deal.
Well, it sounds really great, Dave. I want to say thank you very much for appearing on the show, and hopefully we can have you back on in the near future.
I look forward to it, Dustin. I sure appreciate you guys inviting me. And Eric, take care of yourself, and hopefully we can paths will cross soon here. I'm going to be out in Vegas this weekend, so maybe we can see at South Point.
That'd be great, Dave. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for reliving some of the memories.
All right, guys. Yeah, take care, guys.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, stick around. When we come back, we'll have more from your group here at Bowling Involved. Apparently, Eric was disappearing before we went to go.
I'm still here.
Stick around. We'll have more right after the break. One of our 2 win-a-spot winners for the Laughlin Cup here in the Riverside Lanes, Mr. Jeff White was plus 97 tonight for 2. Took the second place prize. Congratulations on winning your spot in the Laughlin Cup. Why don't you tell our audience at home, what does it mean to have this opportunity to bowl in the Laughlin Cup?
Well, we'll see what happens, and it's the first time for me, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, it's going to be a lot of great bowlers down here. I mean, let's be honest. Do you think that you have a great chance out there?
Everybody's got a chance.
Spoken like a champion. Best of luck to you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Once again, bowling fans, we're standing here with Dave Albers, our top qualifier for the Laughlin Cup winner spot tonight, plus 116 for 2. Dave, phenomenal bowling.
Thank you.
Tell us, what's it mean to have an opportunity to bowl in the Laughlin Cup and to compete against some of these great competitors that are coming down?
Well, I've bowled with most of these guys in the past before in other events, PBA events and whatnot. And this is my first Laughlin Cup, so it's going to be lots of fun. And I think it's going to be a great event.
Well, we certainly hope so. Obviously, it means a lot that someone like you will be coming out to bowl our event against some of these great bowlers that are coming down. But Also, we do want to announce too that Dave, as some may or may not know, Dave is the Director of Bowling Operations for Surbat and Havasu Lanes.
Correct.
And I'm proud to announce that the Bowling Evolved group will be hosting some events in Kingman and Lake Havasu during the summer. Dave, tell us what wanted you to, or what brought us to you? What do you see from Bowling Evolved, and what kind of potential do you see between our two organizations?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity to promote the sport of bowling, scratch bowling again, and I think we're going to have some great events, both in Surbat and in Havasu. So especially one of them potentially is going to be a doubles event. Okay, we talked about that, and then maybe a singles of some sort for the other one. So, and summertime's a great time to come down to Havasu or Arizona, period. So it'll be lots of fun.
Well, we certainly hope so, and to all of our watchers, listeners, and readers, and everyone else that comes to bowlingevolved.com, please check us out for more updates as we get closer to summer. But Dave, once again, congratulations.
Thank you.
See you during the Laughlin Cup.
All right.
Welcome back, bowling fans. Eric, I think it was kind of neat having Dave on the show, and it's as we've had Chris Crossett from Jet Bowling, and of course Scott Wilbur from Motive, and I mean we've had these different perspectives from these different companies. David Ozio, of course, from Atonic. It's interesting to see where the merit and the money they believe has to go.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's something we've talked about before. They want to get a certain amount of bang for their buck, and in their mind this year, putting it into the PBA is not going to give them what they needed. So that's why they decided to go elsewhere. And again, the PBA they've got their initiative. They've got to do what they want to do, and it's kind of hard that the money can go so far. So they wanted to put it elsewhere, and a few other companies have kind of done the same thing. He mentioned it, Motive, not Motive, Mo Rich, and Elite, I think, was another one. So there's a couple other companies that have gone that route, and now basically you've got 900 Global and AMF. I'm hoping that's where it's going to stop, but I'd hate to see everybody jump off because that wouldn't be good. Who knows? And like I said, I think maybe with this new team bowling, and with all the money that's going to come in, hopefully on the other side, maybe that will replace what's been going on, and they'll loosen it up on the companies a little bit to let some more players get back into the game.
I hope so as well. I mean, it's like, you want to see professional bowling succeed, but I mean, you've been on the business side of it as well as the athlete side of it, and it's tough. It's tough. I mean,
well, yeah, because back like I said, Dave mentioned it back in the 90s when you had a ball get on TV from the players, it really sold. And as time goes on, the companies, they predominantly believe that has gone away. And now with, of course, the tape delays and show it in a couple months later, in the beginning, I know they're going to have some live shows, which is really good, but it just doesn't have the same bang like it used to. At least I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people still see a ball on TV. And, they see that gold, the gold, IQ gold on the show, and maybe that's going to help them run out and buy it, or, any of the latest and greatest. I know it was really big back in the day, that's for sure, and I don't know if, according to what Dave was saying, it's not so much anymore, and that could be.
It's definitely changed, and I think with the capability. I mean, whereas in 1990, or even let's say let's take 92. The first year you really toured full time. I mean, you didn't have your YouTube, you didn't have your ballreview.com. You didn't have a Bowling Evolved. You had you had the PBA. I mean, what else was there?
That was the vehicle. That was the way to get your product on TV, and that's why the incentives were so great. And the companies, they couldn't wait to get their ball on TV because that would help them sell product because they'd see their bowling ball on, ABC. You can't get any better PR, and it was just the perfect venue to showcase your product, and people would go out and buy. They'd see that ball on a Saturday, and the next day, Sunday or Monday, they're at the pro shop buying that ball because so-and-so was throwing it. Yep. And like you talked about the old Piranhas and the Kudas and all those balls back in the day. I mean, us throwing them on TV, and especially the guys who made the show all the time, like Weber and Ozio and Holman and those guys and Husted, they're selling the product. Yep. Those days, that's 21 years ago. Those days aren't here anymore. As sad as that is, It's just not here anymore.
No, it's a different environment. And
Different environment. Balls are, you can get them on the internet now, and you couldn't get them back then. And on the internet, it's just different. It's changed completely. And the only person I think that really had hurt it in that would be the players.
Yeah.
The players got hurt with that.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, anymore you go up on Facebook, which, by the way, www.facebook.com/bowlingevolved if you want to check out our Facebook page.
There you go. Get that in.
Got to get our shameless plug in there, but
Shameless.
no, but or of course bowlingevolved.com, but that's
No.
But no, it's just amazing. It really is amazing how the technology's changed, but. At the same time, it's also helped improve on some of the regional levels, the local and regional levels, for things to be promoted that might not necessarily have been able to be promoted 20 years ago. I mean, take, for example, our tournament. I mean, we've put together an online forum that has, fortunately, been yielding us results.
Yes, and there's there's the double edge of the sword. I mean, you've got the good on one side, and then it hurts you on the other side. Yeah, with today's social marketing and social media, you can get stuff out to the people instantly. They know especially like here in Vegas, they know what tournament's going on this weekend. It's all over Facebook. They've got a site for the Las Vegas Bowlers, and I believe a couple of people have another site coming along that's supposedly going to be even better. That's going to list everything. So there's all kinds of stuff, and it's all due to the internet. So you do have the negatives on one side, but boy, you got a lot of positives on the other.
Absolutely. It's great, and like I said, I feel very fortunate to be in this era. I mean, even though we are in what's quote-unquote a shrinking industry, I think that the recreational side of the sport, the reason that it continues to thrive and grow is because of the social media, the multimedia. I think that as time progresses, the quote-unquote shrinking industry, as they continue to embrace what's going on, it's only going to improve things.
Well, that's what you'd hope for, and like I said, and the idea is to increase the business, not shrink the business. And it's just, I still say until the economy and things get better, it's going to be a challenge. It's a challenge for everybody, and even in the company that I'm involved with, Storm, they've got their challenges too, but they still keep pushing out great product, and they keep promoting, and they put a lot of dollars into a lot of promotions. They've got the military tournament coming up here in about a week and a half, and they're going to have bowlers from all over the country coming in. And, they're involved in both centers at the Orleans and the Gold Coast, and Storm's back in it, and they're going to have balls for the players. And they've been involved with the military tournament for a bunch of years, so they're still putting their advertising dollars into it. Who knows how long this will continue, but they're still doing a heck of a job when it comes to that.
Absolutely. And, it's like with Motive as well. I mean, which, by the way, I do have my little Motive.
Another shameless PR push there. I see that. Yes.
What? I did notice you are wearing a Storm shirt, sir. I just want to throw that out there. But
there it is. There it is. Got it.
Yeah.
I had to have that on there.
Of course, I want to say, I mean, at least my wall's a little bowling themed. I got my bowling clock put up right there, and I got my shirts on the wall. I don't see anything bowling in your background.
Sorry, we're not sitting in my trophy room. Sorry.
But
maybe I'll have to do that. We'll have to do a live broadcast from my trophy room one day. We'll do that.
Nice. But no, yeah, I mean, I just think you're right. I think it's just, some of these companies are able to utilize that, and no, it's good. I think and I hope that it does work.
Well, that's all you could hope for.
Yeah. While I'm on the topic of social media and whatnot, I do want to announce a quick update for the Laughlin Cup. First off, I want to say thank you to everyone that has signed up so far. We've had just some incredible turnouts for our winning spots and whatnot. I can announce Michael Haugen Jr. won our last winning spot in Phoenix, two-time national champion.
Who?
Nice. Major winner. Yeah. No.
Who? Oh, that Michael Haugen.
Yeah.
I didn't know he bowled anymore. Just kidding. Just kidding. Little joke there, little humor.
Great for him. We just did an interview which we'll be showing with locally here in Laughlin. We had two bowlers, Rick Sepulveda and Rich Westcombe, who they did the two games during the Kings and Queens League, which is basically the premier league for the Laughlin area, and he was plus 169 for two. I mean, just a ridiculous number, but hey, I mean, when you got it, you got it. Yes,
he had some great scores. I saw the scores, and I I saw the interview you did. I didn't fall asleep. I actually watched it. It was good. I enjoyed it. It was nice. It was good. I think that's very cool. And I like his shirt, by the way. I like the Storm shirt. He had a great looking Storm shirt on that you're going to have to see if you can get some information on that, because I thought that was really cool. Rich,
if you're watching the show, you got to write us in, bowlingevolved@gmail.com. I think it's great to see some of these regional and local competitors. I mean, you have this opportunity in the spotlight, even in winning spots. The Proprietors Cup allows us this opportunity, at least for us to do a satellite tournament. And, being that we are a media source of some sort, it's neat. It's great. And, Inside Bowling does things like this, and Above 180, I know they just had one of their events. And, no, I really hope that this continues to grow. I know that right now, obviously, our friend Barry Gurney is going to be on the coming down for the Laughlin Cup.
Yes.
Michael Haugen, David Haynes, what's the word? The King of Las Vegas, I believe, as well.
The King of Las Vegas. I mean, he is fantastic. He's been Dave's. I've lived in Vegas for about the last almost 10 years now, and David's a great bowler. He was a great bowler before I got here, and I compete against him almost every week in the SMBT tournaments at South Point. And, I mean, he's tough to beat. He's just he's been Player of the Year the last couple of years in that organization, and he's unbelievably good. And but it's good. It's like and I've told you before, when you want to come up and put your big pants on and come up with the big boys, come up to Vegas and bring your motive bowling balls. Get in a car, drive to Vegas. Yeah, I see him, and come compete against the best players in Vegas. The SMBT is a great deal. Harold Mountain does a great job, and Brenda, and it's very competitive, and they're going to have plenty of action this year. And it's at pretty much exclusively at South Point. Every now and then they run a few tournaments at the Orleans, but you talk about good action, and it's not really expensive to play. And the money is really good. And the competition, I should say, is excellent.
Well, that's definitely something I need to check out. And it's great to see, like SMBT and some of these other organizations, Dick Sanders with the West Coast Senior Tour and whatnot, having, these tournament clubs still able to thrive, especially in the tough economy like it is. But, I was going to say, Eric, that is going to take us into our second break. Ladies and gentlemen, stick around when we come back. Some breaking news from Bowling Evolved and our sign-off right after this.
Okay.
Well, hello again, ladies and gentlemen. We're standing here with the gentleman that won our very first Laughlin winning spot, Mr. Rich Westcomb, and this is a very special time for us because we're here to announce our very first amateur staff member bowling for Bowling Evolved. Again, Mr. Rich Westcomb. Rich, welcome on board.
Thank you, sir.
Tell our audience at home why you decided to bowl for Bowling Evolved, and what does this mean to have this opportunity?
Well, I've been following it for the last few weeks now, and I've known you for a long time, and just seems like a great opportunity to promote bowling and get our area here on the map, across the country that we're forced to be reckoned with here on the river. It's not just the big cities. So just excited about the opportunity.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of great competitors all across the United States, or the world, to be perfectly honest. And, it means a lot to have someone such as yourself that's such a high caliber bowler in this area representing Bowling Evolved. Is there any goals for yourself for the upcoming year?
Make all my spares.
Spoken like a true bowler, if I may say so. Rich, welcome on board again.
Thank you, sir.
Back to you. Welcome back, bowling fans, and thank you again for joining us on yet another edition of Bowling Evolved. Our episode 20 was unique because it was our first video show where Eric and I were live together. This one's unique because it's our first Skype show. So I don't know, Eric. It's a little bit different, but I think it's good. I think it's good.
No, I think we're evolving in the right direction, and we've got all kinds of good stuff coming up, and we just gotta put everything into motion, and I think bowling fans and bowlers in general will appreciate what we're trying to do. At least I hope they do, and I think we'll have some really cool guests on here in the next coming months, and between all the people that you know and I know, we should have at least one or two people on the show.
Hopefully 3. You never know.
3, never know. But I mean, no.
I don't know.
we could have it should be interesting, and I hope that it'll be interesting to listen to, and hopefully open up a couple ideas and some suggestions.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. While you mentioned suggestions, I can tell you that we have some amazing news regarding Bowling Evolved. We're going to be putting our message board up on bowlingevolved.com here, hopefully for the next couple of weeks. giving you, the fans, an opportunity. You know, one thing that Eric obviously has the experience in, and myself as well, is, you know, we can give you advice as far as layouts on balls, or different cover stocks, or equipment, or tournament setups, or whatever the case is. You know, we get a lot of emails, we get a lot of messages, but, you know, I think having that forum, you know, and to talk to each other as well, I think that's going to be a good opportunity for people.
Yeah, I think if you're a bowler in general, whether you're an experienced bowler, a novice bowler, and in between, it doesn't matter. I think we'll have anybody can come on and talk on the message board, and I personally, I'll answer anything that, you know, that I can, and if not, I'll get the answers for the person.
Why is it so easy being a left-hander? No, I'm just joking.
Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask somebody like Matt McNeil like that, you know, the star bowler for Global, or Parker Bone, because he just won his 32nd or 34th title, or my God, I can't.
A lot.
He's won a lot. You know, he's not only one of the greatest of all time, but also a really good friend. And you know, when I first went out on tour back in the day, I always looked up to him because he'd already been out there 4 or 5 years, and I think he'd already won a few times. And he tried to help me quite a bit back in the day, and I'll never forget that. I got some great stories, but that'll be for another show. We could talk about those stories. But, you know, it's great to see him win again. And, you know, you can't keep the greats down forever. Even myself, I have a couple of good days bowling every now and then still, so.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And, you know, speaking of friends of the show, we also are proud to announce that Bowling Evolved now has a staff. We're going to be actually having staff positions available to some bowlers, and we are proud to announce that a good friend of our shows, a friend of Eric's and a friend of mine, Mr. Barry Gurney, multi-time senior national champion, top 25 earner in senior tour history, and of course the first man ever to throw a storm bowling ball on TV. See, I even remember that stuff. It's amazing.
That's correct, see? And by the way, what hand does he happen to throw with?
I don't know that. I don't pay attention.
That's what I thought. I'll tell you, it's left hand. But see, there it is. And that's okay. Now we'll have to get a right-hander on staff just to make you feel better, but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm proud to announce we do have a right-hander coming on staff as well. Actually, the gentleman that won our Laughlin Win-A-Spot here, Mr. Rich Westcomb, has agreed to come on our staff as well as our first amateur member. So we have our first pro and our first amateur.
Excellent. The guy with the cool-looking storm shirt, he deserves to be on our staff. Anybody's got a cool-looking storm shirt like that, he deserves to be on our staff.
Yeah, well, if it was a cool-looking motive shirt, which, like, you know, Mr. Brian Hirsch, one of our writers, of course, and myself wear, that's a whole different story. But
it's okay. That's okay.
But no, I'm very proud to announce the two of them coming on board. You know, we will have, as we expand, we will be branching out into some more opportunities for bowlers to get the staff positions and the incentives we're going to be able to offer them. But, you know, it's great, Eric. You know, here as we're approaching the first full month of January 2013, we have really taken this direction with the company that, you know, who would have thought, you know, our little talk show 6-7 months ago would have turned into something like this.
No, it is kind of interesting because I know when you called me up, you had this idea and we knocked it around, and I didn't think it would go this direction, but it's been a fun ride, and it seems to be picking up some steam, and you know, we got more than 5 people listening to us, so that's kind of cool, and you know, I mean, and now they could actually see us, which could be bad. I mean, then they get to see I know it's bad enough. I understand, but again, it is amazing where this thing has gone, and who knows where it's going to go. The fact that we can offer, you know, your staff position like you talk about, and being able to get involved with sponsoring tournaments, and you know, I'm finally able to give back. You know, after something that I've taken from a lot of years, I was able to take a lot from bowling. I can actually give something back, and that actually feels good.
You know, I was asked a question, and I'm sure you hear the same thing, and it's funny because of the connotation it has. But, you know, everyone always asks me, you know, oh, you must make a lot of money doing Bowling Evolved, or what kind of money. And it's so funny because, yeah, I wish it was, you know, but no, obviously, you know, you bowling out on tour and doing as well as you did, and you know, working in the environment I did as a tournament coordinator, you know, in one of the most successful bowling centers out here on the West Coast, if not the United States, you know, it was a lot about the money. But with the show, I feel grateful that it's more about giving back to the bowlers and having an opportunity to share, the knowledge that I have, and of course, the knowledge you have, which far, outshines what I know.
Yeah, I'm old.
I didn't say that. I did not say that.
I did. I know. I'm 52 years old. That's okay.
But
no, exactly, and that's the whole thing. I mean, that's why we can give our perspective. Obviously, yourself being younger and myself being older, and all my years of experience being in the professional ranks, and then in the pro shop business, and now with this social media, I guess you would call it, learning this side of it. It's to help people. It's to help people and try and grow the sport. Did I say that? Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. I know.
Wow.
It's a moment. I'm having an epiphany. It's to try to grow the sport / game / recreation / birthday parties. Now, whatever else you want to call it. But I mean, it's to help move it forward and help grow it, because it has kind of been shrinking, and for all the reasons that we could spend many shows talking about. But hopefully our little thing that we're doing gets people a little more interested in the game. And it's a great game. And I hope this helps.
I sincerely do as well. I just want to say, as we say every week, thank you very much to our audience. Ladies and gentlemen, you at home, you guys make this possible. It's very humbling, and I think it's for both of us, there's a lot of humility to be able to do something like this. And, as we finish out the show, I do want to say one last thing. I know they did host in Laughlin. We had mentioned her on the show several times. Molly Bradley, who passed away, the youth coordinator, very famous youth coordinator from Southern California. They did have her memorial tournament, which was a big success. And on behalf of everyone involved with our show, and I'm sure I speak for Eric as well, may she rest in peace. And I hope that we as bowlers, and I don't just mean Eric and I mean everyone in general, are able to continue on her traditions of grooming the younger generation and giving back to the community, because I think ultimately that's what it's all about.
Yeah, because if you don't have the kids, you don't have the youth bowlers, you don't have a game, you don't have a sport. You have nothing to grow, and it has to start there. And then it has to move up, and that's what we have to keep working on.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to take us to the end of the show. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in with us yet again this week. As always, you can check us out at bowlingevolved.com, facebook.com/bowlingevolved, on our YouTube channel, search for Bowling Evolved, on our Twitter thing, which I think is at Bowling Evolved. I'm forgetting something. We're going to have a Google Plus page soon. I'm throwing things out here at this point. I know we're moving along.
Moving.
And, of course, if you do have the chance, please check out the Laughlin Cup. For all the information on that, it is available on Facebook and, of course, on our webpage. But, ladies and gentlemen, for Eric Forkel, I've been Dustin J. Markowitz. Have a great night.
Good night.